No. You don't understand. There was something in the woods. And I think it's in here with us now. You're all going to die tonight.
And we're Wages of Cine. I'm Dan Beck.
I'm Eric Miller.
I'm Stephen Gillum.
And I'm Jeremy Garcia.
What did we watch?
What?
What did we watch?
Evil Dead, the remake,
2013?
2013?
2013.
Huh.
Tell us about it.
I'll give a synopsis. 5 friends head to a remote cabin where the discovery of a book of the dead leads them to unwittingly summoned up demons living in the nearby woods. The evil presence possesses them until only one is left to fight for survival. That's pretty accurate.
The titular evil book.
Like the book we found?
Yeah, in the basement.
We'll unwrap that later.
So,
Crazy
can I start us off?
No.
All right, then.
Go.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Well, I think if you're just looking at this as a movie, okay, so say for instance, I haven't really known any of the Evil Dead movies, the originals.
Until these past 2. Yeah.
Until recently. So if I would have just gone into this movie just watching it, it's pretty uneventful. But if you've watched and are fans of the first 3, then I feel like it makes this movie into something. I'm not saying that something's great, but it does make it into something because you kind of start to see where they, mirrored scenes and do things like that. I appreciated that this reboot wasn't a carbon copy of just the same characters that we had. Mm-hmm. I guess you told me it's supposed to be in the same universe. So
I read that, but I take that loosely. It might be and it might not be. It doesn't feel like it at all.
yeah.
No.
But
With the inclusion of the last scene, after the credits, you kind of hope maybe tied together in some way.
That was terrible.
Thank you.
But Sam Raimi started off his trilogy going darker. I think his intention
Like
was
a
to make a
hardcore.
horror movie, not to make a really. By the time you get to Army of Darkness, it's kind of campy and
Complete Three Stooges.
yeah, exactly. So I think in that vein, they were kind of sticking. I think had Sam Raimi had that same stuff, he probably would have done it similar, maybe back then.
Where Evil Dead 2, the remake, would be a more comic type stuff in there.
I don't know. That's the question. But so I feel like, I'm glad they didn't just do like a same carbon copy characters. I'm glad it was in this one the main character she's a drug addict who's kind of they've gone to the cabin for an intervention. It's a different set of characters. It's a different story, and it's not just somebody they cast to be the Ash of the movie, and it's not somebody they cast to be the fifth wheel of the movie. And
Did you think the brother originally was going to be the Ash character, the hero?
I didn't even really think about it, to be honest. I wasn't really going into it thinking who's the Ash character. I did notice towards the end of it, I noticed finally that he was wearing Ash's kind of blue shirt and that type of stuff. So then about towards the end of it, I thought, are they trying to make him the Ash character? Mm-hmm. But then it kind of flips the script on it a little bit. So,
like in the first Evil Dead, it's Ash and his sister is the one who gets possessed first and thrown into the cellar. The same thing happened here. She's first one thrown into the cellar. She's possessed and thrown into the cellar.
I think they kind of threw too much into it like that. Like you said, it's not like a carbon copy, but it's all over the place.
There's a lot of little bits of like, oh yeah, that line's from the first one. This scene, this sequence is the same from the first and second ones.
Like the eyepiece.
Yeah.
But they were actually
the necklace thingy.
But it was given an actual purpose rather than like this was just something pretty. It's like she believes in kind of mythical type stuff, and it was good luck, I guess, a good luck charm.
Yeah, I would have liked for that to have come into play a little bit though, if it was something, because we're dealing with, they start off with he gives it to her and she mentions you don't believe in this stuff. He's like, yeah, but you do. So I figure maybe it'll help. So if that's implied that, and we're already dealing with supernatural forces and demons, that things that some people don't believe exist. So it seems like, I wish that instead of her just finding it on the ground at the end and being like, oh, you know.
It was supposed to help her. The new one was supposed to have help her with her will.
Yeah.
Which I think was like the will to get over her addiction originally, but then when she got possessed, the will to beat the evil.
Did she?
Her.
She refound it again, right?
Yeah.
Like after her.
Yeah, after it's all said and done, it's just like Dan said, it's just laying there.
But earlier she like pulled it apart.
Yeah.
So
I didn't
gotten
see
back
that.
Together.
Oh.
But like in the original, Ash used it to get the book out of the fire. I mean, it was like an actual. There was a use for it all throughout.
It was a plot device. It was I guess that's what I'm saying. I wish
this was just
there had
put
been
in there.
something.
Yeah.
It's like
Evil Dead.
The woods are alive.
Yeah, I think that was just thrown in there. It's like that's the to the little necklace thing. Let's give her something.
What is the most obvious throwback? Like, hey, this is an Evil Dead movie.
The cabin?
I mean,
And besides
what
being
is
thrown into the cellar.
what is she sitting on when we first meet
on
her?
The car.
Yeah, the Oldsmobile.
Sam
that's
Raimi.
not the most obvious.
To me, it was. I'm like, look, there's the car.
That's the thing. See, like I had seen the first three before I saw this one, so I was immediately saying, they're doing a reboot of a really good movie. It's gonna suck. And so the whole movie, I'm trying to pick it apart and saying, oh yeah, here's the Oldsmobile. There's a necklace. There's this. There's that. There's the outfit he's wearing. Look like Ash. So to me, that kind of for me it took away because I was automatically comparing it to the original.
Yeah.
And trying to make it as good or better, and it's not. It's just not the same.
Well, it's like the old one was kind of just he made it because that's what he wanted to make.
Yeah.
This one is made like every other lower budget horror movie. It's got the same sound. It's got the same look. The characters are kind of the same. There's no, like all the characters in this just seem kind of flat. She's a drug addict and she's struggling with it, but you don't really even get to see that. It's like she's not doing drugs. She never did drugs the whole time. She didn't even appear to be like under the influence when she got there. And then as soon as they're in the cabin, she's like, oh, I haven't had it in like, I don't know how many hours. And it's, you know, if you were really making a darker movie, you would pull some of that in and you would, for me, if you like, kind of like just showed the dichotomy of like being under the throes of coming off of an addiction with being possessed and stuff. I mean, you could put those together and make something that could really pull some emotional strings, but they don't. It's just flat the whole time. And it's not like the original, it was fun. But this one's not fun.
I did like the idea that they didn't believe she was possessed because she was going through withdrawals. That's the one thing I did I'd like that.
But it didn't even like, whenever I saw her, like when she's like, I got the sweats. Well, you don't really appear to be
too in distress.
Yeah. So it's, and everybody's flat. I mean, they're like, oh, we just got to do this for her. Why? Just because. It's, you know, there was no emotion.
Well, they mentioned the previous, she had OD'd previously and died for a few minutes, and so this was like the last chance to save her before. I think from what I pulled from it, the friends were like, this is the last time we're going to do this.
Yeah, but the thing
we're not going to help her anymore.
When they were doing that, they were just flat about it. It's like they didn't really care about her. It didn't seem. I didn't get any of that from how they acted.
You were just mad because the English professor was a young version of yourself.
His beard was not
with
long.
my name.
Speaking of the characters, you told this today. I did not know.
You didn't know that?
If you take the names of the characters and you put them in the right order,
An
Fun
anagram
fact.
of them.
it spells out demon.
It does.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, David, Eric, something with
Mia.
an M.
Mia was the main girl.
Mia.
Olivia was Jessica Lucas, the doctor,
And Natalie.
Natalie was the
She was a
girlfriend.
nurse.
I'm sorry. Jessica Lucas is just beautiful. Period.
There's one thing, like, we got to that scene with the nurse where she goes into the bathroom.
I like that.
And it's the whole, she starts to get possessed, and I kept turning to you guys as the book opens and implies it shows some woman.
Here's Jeremy.
And I'm like,
doing this.
but this is where they messed up. because I was asking you guys, the book implies that she's going to cut her face off. That's what's going to happen, which I did not want to see happen. And I feel like they missed their opportunity because he walks in and she's sitting there hacking away, and then she turns to the camera and shows us. And how cool would that have been if they just didn't? If she started that turn and then just cuts from behind her and he's just like, oh my God. And like then throughout her attack we don't see her face. We just know he slips on that piece of her face and falls. It would have been so much cooler because I'd have known like he just slipped on her freaking face.
How'd you feel when you saw it? Was it too much or was it?
No, it took me, it made me immediately, I went from building the tension, I'm like, I do not want to see this, I don't want to see it, to, okay.
Kind of disappointment?
Yeah, I was disappointed. And I would have been if they just cut from behind her and we never saw her face, but it was just implied she just cut her face off.
Well,
that would have been.
Either they had to go with fully degloving her face or not
Don't say
showing
that term,
her.
it's terrible.
But I mean, it's like she just took a knife and like cut her cheek.
She had
open,
cut this portion of her face off,
which
is what he slipped on.
Yeah, and
Well, she's on the way. I thought it was good.
I was expecting some like Silence of the Lambs.
I wanted
like-
Pelt's meatloaf cutting a tank top. That's what I wanted.
Meatloaf.
Have you seen that?
I would do anything for love.
Pelts.
Pelts.
Check it out. I was afraid this was gonna be like a torture porn when I saw the previews originally. I'm glad it wasn't to the degree of like a Hostel or something like that. I was able to watch this and like, okay, this is all right.
Yeah.
But so I'm glad for that.
I think like for a standalone by itself, without worrying about the other three, just watching it as a horror movie, you know, kids in the woods, shenanigans, evil. To me, it's a good little spook-y movie.
I was let down.
Cabin in the Woods kind of ruined it. This Cabin in the Woods came out right before this
Yeah.
one, and like you go and see that making fun of kind of the Evil Dead.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods is awesome.
Yeah,
so-
and then
I
you
mean,
watch
it
this
had that
like
fun. It was fun.
it was fun. This was not fun.
Yeah.
This was dark.
It tried
You
to
loved
be.
it,
It tried to
man.
be.
I
Dark.
did enjoy, but it was dark and
There's
not.
lots of limb ripping.
Well, if it was darker, I think it would have been better.
Okay.
They were remaking a lighthearted movie to make it dark, and they didn't push the envelope. That's what I think.
You want an extremer?
Yeah.
Extremier? Extremier?
Experiments.
Let's
Starring Iron Man.
let's rate this thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with, given that it's a remake, Evil Dead's coming. It's coming after some great stuff. I'm gonna go with 2.5.
Out of 5.
2.5 out of 5. Jeeps.
Jeeps.
Jeeps. Is that the Wrangler or the Liberty?
The regular.
All right.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Like I said, for by itself, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't compare to the originals, obviously, but it's a good little horror flick. I'm gonna give it 3.
Don't pick mine.
3 Sam Raimi Oldsmobiles. As Jeremy is.
It's not my favorite Evil Dead by far.
Of course.
But I had fun watching it. It's okay. I give it 3. 3 nails from a nail
Ooh.
gun.
Yeah.
Easy. Can Google nail PNG. All right. At first, I was going to give it a little higher rating but I think that I was going to give it that rating based off of me having seen the previous 3 Evil Deads and me being able to see the similarities. But I can't grade it on that because I can't count on people having marathoned them back to back and then watching it. So I feel like just watching it by itself, I'm gonna have to give it 2. 2. I don't know.
2 limbs lost.
Yeah, 2 severed limbs. There you go. So, yeah, that's mine.
And the tree scene wasn't as bad.
Wasn't as bad? Tree scene
I
wasn't
missed
as
the
bad.
tree scene.
Maybe it
I
was,
thought
don't
the tree scene was.
know. It was pretty.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I mean, it's messed up. It's messed up regardless. It's a messed up scene, but
I missed the tree.
I'm not saying that this version of the
Or
tree.
reenacted.
I'm not saying that this version of the tree took her to dinner first and lit candles, but
It was more romantic.
yeah. So that's Evil Dead.
Evil
The
Dead
remake.
2013.
2013,
If you haven't seen it, check it out
maybe.
Swallow yourself.
if you want.
Or comment and tell us you're not going to check it out. Neither way.
You know what? Don't comment. I don't want to hear what you have to say.
Yes.
Yes.
And see you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, cut.